Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor, and today I'm doing another Fatal Friday video. Fatal Friday being the series where I casually go into the Kombat League for Mortal Kombat 1 and I try to get Brutalities and Fatalities. Now I ended up getting these finishers a while back, so mostly this is just me reflecting on how I got those. This week I'm going to be highlighting a Brutality for Ermac titled We Win. We Win is the Brutality version of Ermac's Spirit Punch. And without a doubt, this is definitely my favorite Ermac Brutality because it's a very funny one. If you manage to beat somebody using the Spirit Punch to activate that Brutality at the very end of a fight, your opponent is going to shrink and Ermac is going to remain at his standard size, which means Ermac is going to be gigantic compared to his opponent, leaving the opposition completely defenseless and Ermac can just stomp down on them like a bug. Actually, it's kind of like something out of Gulliver's Travels, only a lot more blood, gore, and viscera, Mortal Kombat style. So yeah, I want to highlight that one today. And this time around in the Kombat League, my opponent was somebody using johnnycage, and they have paired up their johnnycage with the kameo fighter Kano. Oh, and also they're using the Jean-Claude Van Damme skin for johnnycage. So I guess whenever I do get this Brutality, Ermac is going to be shrinking johnnycage down to action figure size, but it is going to be something of a 2-for-1 deal because we're also going to be getting a miniature Jean-Claude Van Damme. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to go with this video for this Fatal Friday was because on previous Fridays, or at least the previous 2 Fridays, I uploaded videos where I ended up pulling off the finisher that I wanted, but I feel like the matches themselves were kind of poor and I did not play my best in them. So this time around, I wanted to at least put up a video where I played pretty well. And I do feel like I did very well with Ermac in this fight. Now, I'm definitely not a high-level competitive player or anything like that, but for me, I feel like I did pretty good. So I really didn't have a specific reason for wanting to highlight this Brutality. I just decided to go with this video because, unlike in the previous ones that I mentioned, I felt like my gameplay here was actually pretty good. Also, as I am reflecting on this match, in real time, this was a pretty comedic one. Now, it was not funny until the very end of the match, but it still left me laughing at the very end. And the reason for that being, and I don't know exactly when this setting was enabled for Mortal Kombat 1, but this fight was the very first one when I realized there was a chat function for this game, and your opponent could send you random messages. And I'll go ahead and tell you I found this out not because my opponent was super polite and wanted to talk to me and say favorable things. No, they had some negative things to share with me, nothing offensive or anything bad like that, but they certainly had some opinions they wanted to share with me about my gameplay. Just some negative things to say. And it was delivered in a really funny way for me. So I will go ahead and spoil how this entire set ends because it's not even close. By the end of the entire set, I end up winning it without losing a single round, so I end up sweeping my opponent. But in spite of that, my opponent felt like I was not playing very well. I think the exact phrase that they said was I needed to stop playing scared or something like that. I think they said a little bit more, but the phrase stop playing scared does stand out in my mind, which I thought was really, really funny because I swept this person. What was there to be scared of? Now, I just thought that was really, really funny. I have definitely mentioned it in previous videos, but I'm not a gigantic fan of taunting your opponent. But I will say, if a person chooses to do it, at least do it after you have won. Because this is a really funny example of somebody wanting to talk smack even though they lost. And not only lost, but did not even come close to winning. Of course, back when I recorded this, though, whenever looking at the chat, you would not be under the impression this person lost. They were talking as if they had won. And I just remember shaking my head thinking to myself, I don't know what game you were playing, but I definitely saw something very different. And then immediately after that, I went ahead and turned off that chat function because I can only imagine the other amazing things I would have heard had I just left that thing on. And amazing here is definitely a relative term because, whether through chat or the microphone doesn't really matter. The online chatter and culture of the random pair-ups you get in Mortal Kombat 1 can sometimes be an absolute dumpster fire. It is amazing the things you will hear sometimes. So yeah, I'll go ahead and leave that one there. It was a very funny interaction and maybe have a little bit of sportsmanship or manners towards your opponent, especially if you were the one who lost. I mean, that's just a thought. Anyway, Johnny is nearly dead. Let's go for this Brutality.
Your soul belongs to us. Brutality. Ermac wins.
And that was the We Win Brutality for Ermac. Even though that's Ermac's Brutality, it's kind of giving me some flashbacks to the cameo Jax's Fatality Big Boot. Only in that one, Jax made himself gigantic in order to step on the standard size opponent. And here, Ermac is shrinking the opponent while maintaining his standard size so he can crush them in bug size. Still, the end result is basically the same. Somebody is getting crushed to death by someone's foot. Adding insult to injury, Ermac is basically a decaying corpse, so that was probably a very dirty and unpleasant foot. In spite of the chats that I got after the fight, thank you to my randomly paired up opponent that I got in the Kombat League for this one. After all, I got to enjoy a very funny brutality at the very end of our set together, so it definitely wasn't a bad one. I mean, I left entertained, and of course this is Thor's entertainment, so that's kind of the idea. Now, we'll show the brutality one more time at the very end of this outro, that way we can enjoy it one final time before parting ways on this Fatal Friday. If you found this Mortal Kombat 1 finisher video entertaining, feel free to check out some of the other stuff I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I have a bunch more of these kinds of videos under the Fatal Friday playlists, as well as some playthroughs of various Mortal Kombat games. On top of that, right after I'm done with this video, I'm going to start finishing up my very last Resident Evil 2 remake video, so if Resident Evil is your thing, feel free to check that out, or my gameplay of the remake of the original Resident Evil. Anyway, that's going to just about do it for me. Thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and hopefully I will see you next time.
Your soul belongs to us. Brutality. Ermac wins.